So first of all, can we just say salt is not bad for you? Salt will not make you fat. Salt will not make you fat. Salt is not only is it not bad for you, it is an essential mineral and electrolyte.
Super necessary.
Super fucking necessary. So I think salt got a bad rap when people are because people eat too much processed foods and they have a lot of sodium in it, and then you may have too much. Right. But if you're eating clean and eating healthy, you have to salt your food to then supplement, I guess you would say.
Yeah, most natural foods don't have a plethora of salt. Like most vegetables don't have tons of salt.
Yep.
Most potatoes don't have tons of salt.
So it's not only for flavor, but it's for every single body function.
So yeah, let's talk about salt and I guess potassium. We'll get into the two main electrolytes to focus on. There's quite a few that play a factor. So sodium, like I said, is not bad. And why is it super necessary? So we talked about cell health, right? And so there's water inside your cell, and there's also water in the space between the cells. So the water in the space between the cells is called your extracellular fluid, which basically means just water outside the cell. And the intracellular fluid is water inside the cell. So we talk about homeostasis a lot and that balance. So how does the body get that balance of the right amount of water in between, the right amount of water in the cell? And it uses electrolytes, which are charged minerals in this sense that shuttle water in and out. So one thing people forget too is that we're like electrical beings.
Oh, it's all energy.
If you remember chemistry class, and sodium has a positive charge. Most of your minerals have positive charges. Chloride has a negative charge.
Yep.
Sodium chloride, you get that. But in your body, the water also, water gets attracted in or out depending on the ratio of sodium or potassium. So if I have an excess amount of sodium, I'm actually pulling water out of my cells, which is why salt gets a bad rap, because you have an excessive amount of it or a depletion of potassium. Basically, if you're just imbalanced, your cells are going to be dehydrated. Conversely, which is really rare to happen, but you'll have too much potassium, not enough sodium, you're not going to get any water in between the cells to shuttle things through, and those cells will be kind of overfilled.
Then you're in real trouble.
With potassium, which is also bad. So again, it's not about sodium's bad, it's about the average American diet tends toward high sodium, which tends towards
and it's harder to get potassium, so it's hard to find a balance.
Exactly.
Especially if you're not drinking enough water on top of that. The Bridge Podcast. Sean Nixon here.
John Matthew.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling well hydrated, Sean.
Excellent.
Whoa, what's that you say? Topic of today.
Hydration.
Hydration.
So, continuing the nutrition series, part of nutrition, yes, is hydration. And part of hydration is water.
Water is important.
Super important, but maybe not the only thing, because we've seen people drink too much water, not enough water for their goals, and electrolyte imbalance, not holding enough water and stuff.
Yeah, I think people will think of hydration, they think just of water, which is, a very critical function of it. It's kind of like, this is a good metaphor that we talked about earlier, so that you mentioned before, that the human body is approximately 70% water. The amount of water on Earth is approximately 70%. What's the other percent? Minerals, right? Of rock, Earth. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And so the other percent of hydration is minerals, potassium, sodium.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
I don't think so either. So you need a little bit of both. And that's maybe a good ratio to think about it. And get your water in for sure, but there's definitely a significant portion that electrolytes play, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Huge.
If you don't know what electrolytes are, you will find out.
You're going to learn today.
You're going to learn today.
So what is hydration?
So, I have it as a concise definition as optimal fluid balance within the body.
So once again, not just drinking water, like anything can be hydrated optimally, but like I said, fluid balance.
Because then that goes back to the electrolytes, is what they do essentially is create homeostasis or a balance within the body in terms of the fluid. Because all your cells, like every single cell in your body, has to have water in it.
to function properly.
Yeah,
to exist.
And so there's different numbers out there, but in terms of dehydration's effect on performance, say I guess like sport performance, but also just like cellular function. Like it only takes a little bit for a cell to not be able to function properly.
For sure. So then you're even talking mood and cognitive function and mental clarity.
If it's a cell that's in your body, it's being affected by your dehydration. Yeah. I know. I mean, do you have any main triggers you have for dehydration that you know of?
Besides, when I'm feeling dehydrated?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you feel dehydrated, you're already fucked. It's too late. The signals from the body come late. So that's why, just like everything else we talk about, plan and prepare and execute. Don't wait till it's too fucking late. If your lips are chapped and you're feeling creaky, or even if you're just thirsty, if your tongue is dry, you've waited too long. So for me personally, at this point, I don't let that happen. I get up in the morning and I'm drinking water, and then after my tea I'm drinking water, and then during my workout I have a certain amount of water that I drink, and then I'm just unconsciously at this point, because I've created a habit, sipping water throughout the day. And then I also plan ahead, say I'm going to drink some alcohol, I have enough kombucha, Pedialyte, coconut water, vitamin water, regular water ready for the next day and stuff, and before I go to sleep, so I never get too dehydrated at any time. And then that goes along with eating enough fruits and things that contain, foods that contain water. And then maybe limiting or being aware of your stimulants and caffeine and alcohol and stuff that's a diuretic that expels water. And just being aware of stuff.
Yeah. I think we mentioned this, I guess it was the protein, or I think it may have been the carb, or maybe both, but alcohol's effect on inhibiting absorption of certain nutrients.
Yeah.
But in conjunction with being a diuretic and an inability to absorb nutrients, that's what creates the perfect hangover. So if you want to prevent that, main thing is electrolytes, healthy healthy probiotics, kombucha in that case of what you're doing, and then obviously the right amount of fluid to begin. So those three things.
Yeah, alcohol is straight up poison. It's so funny because a hangover is so many layers. First, it's your liver detoxing and literally being addicted to it. It's dehydration.
And it's your brain.
It's your brain being all fucked up. And then, like you said, your gut bacteria being poisoned.
Yeah.
You're just fucked. Like a hangover is literally...
That's why you feel fucked in a hangover.
Yeah, it's brutal.
But you can still enjoy it. You can advertise for it, but just do it in moderation and stay hydrated. But and the same thing with caffeine. So I mean, caffeine. The effects of caffeine as it's going to make you entirely dehydrated. It's they're a little exacerbated. It is a diuretic, so you will expel water, but it's really not as dramatic as a lot of people say it is. So I mean, unless you're chugging like 5 or 6 cups of coffee in like a 5-hour period, which I've done before, don't do that.
Not recommended.
Personal experience. But yeah, so. Hydration. When did you first realize it was really important to stay hydrated?
As soon as I started, and that's a perfect question because it leads us into our hydrating for your goals. As soon as I started losing weight and trying to become fit and healthy on a fitness and health journey, the first thing I did was just like, okay, that's something I can control. I know I used to wake up, light a cigarette, get a cup of coffee with sugar and cream, chain smoke cigarettes all day, drinking Gatorade and Arizona iced teas and Snapples, and then drink booze all night.
Arnie Palmer's? Yeah?
No. Oh, yeah. And then, as long as it had fucking sugar or alcohol or both, I was about it. And so once you replace all those things with water, which is delicious, shit starts getting a lot better for you.
So it's funny to think about is like soda or even like fruit beverages that are like added sugars,
juicy juice.
If you like distill that down, if you like distill it down or if you just heat it down to its basic components, it's like syrup basically. So you're just drinking like syrup essentially.
Oh yeah.
And like those machines, and like if you don't know, well now you know, but like a soda machine, all it's hooked up to is water,
a syrup line and a water
line. And a big
line.
jug of syrup that's hooked up to it.
Yeah.
So you're just getting syrup, carbonated
with
water.
just a little bit of bubbly water.
A little fizzy water, fizzy bubbly.
And you can adjust
a little more fizz?
Yeah, so some people like the Burger King Coke more than the McDonald's Coke.
It's a little
syrupy. That's the recipe.
But yeah. So that's interesting. So when you started on your fitness journey, hydration. Was it hard for you to get hydrated quickly? Or in the first stages of, hey, I need to drink more water, or this is something I can control?
No, yeah, I immediately wrapped my head around, like, I'm going to be eating less food, so I might as well drink more water, and it's an easy way to replace, like I said, those sugary calories from juice and iced tea and soda with just water. And then it's funny looking back, being an athlete my whole life, but not knowing the importance of hydration and nutrition. I used to get cramps all the time. I was the king of calf and hamstring cramps.
That's funny because that's how I found out about hydration was, again, talking for your goals for performance. And it wasn't even when I was like considered myself at that time like a high physical performer, because I was still like at that point like 120 pounds trying to play football with like guys who were going to D1 schools getting hit around in like the second team. But it was preseason, 3 days, I think we started Sunday and ended Saturday. So I think like Tuesday, so like the third day in is like, I always found that to be the worst day in, because like once you realize it's Wednesday, you're like, I'm halfway through. But it's Tuesday, I'm like, if
your mind starts going on Monday, you're fucked anyway.
You're fucked.
Tuesday's the worst day.
Tuesday's the worst day.
Wednesday's hump day. Thursday, you're like, tomorrow's Friday. Yeah. And then Friday, you're fucking home.
Tuesday, you're so far away from everything.
Tuesday's you're farthest away from land. You're fucked.
You just lost sight of the shore. I'm like, I can't go back now.
And that works with everything. Like, if you hate your job on Monday, you need to quit that shit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, dude, Tuesday afternoon, if you're sluggish, I get it. But if you're going in hating it.
That's right.
So then what? Cramps or performance?
No, so I mean, I remember feeling like, and I'd always been bad with hydration my entire life as a kid. I just never drank enough water.
Yeah.
I was like a sugar fiend for
Sure.
like all of my like 7 to 13 years old, like 5 to 13 years old, which has also a converse effect of hydration.
Sure.
And me in particular, my body type, which I would found out later, is needs like more hydration than the average person that I've calculated for.
Yeah.
And that's just a personal thing. But Tuesday I was dying. Like I had a bunch of, even just like I think I had like a sprained ankle, and like everything was fatigued and sore. Like I hadn't done that much conditioning, lactic acid everywhere. I would just beat up for one. And then I'm like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this. So like my mom had sent me some like vitamin waters, and I was like, all right, I have like from today's midday practice tomorrow to like do something. So I'm like, I'm just gonna start chugging water. Like, cause I took a piss at Mary, which I'm like, that shit is super orangey yellow. Maybe I'll figure something out here.
A little maple syrup.
Started doing like just chugging vitamin waters to chugging regular water, adding some like salt to some of my food that I was eating. And literally the next day, on Wednesday, was the day that I usually feel the shittiest, and you probably should feel the shittiest, I felt amazing. I felt like it was like 0 to 100. I was like, that blew my mind. Because it wasn't like, I feel kind of better. I can't tell if I feel better. I'm like,
significantly better.
I feel amazing.
And you were aware of that, but were you aware that it was the hydration?
100%. And then from that day, like I was like, this is a must. And then I started trying to put on more mass, and that's even more important for trying to put on mass. But it was that moment performance. I'm like, and then I also knew one of the only kids I went to high school with that played in the NFL, maybe the only one that made it to the NFL, or at least played in games, not just practice squad. Sure. Nick Williams, which actually Janny was like really good friends with, funny enough. I remember watching him. He was a junior when I was a freshman, but he's like one of the most, at that point, and probably still now, one of the most like crazy athletes that I've ever seen. Super freaks that I've seen in person.
There's mutants out there.
Because I haven't been around that many mutants, but of all the mutants I've been around, he's a fucking mutant. The one thing I remember with him, though, besides his mutantness, is during games, we were the freshmen, so we didn't even suit up for varsity games at that point, so we were just like water bitches, just like,
yeah.
And he maybe took like 5 or 6 sips of water an entire game where he played a running back, receiver, cornerback, scoring 3 TDs. He's like, no, I'm good. Just take a little squirt. Because he always stay hydrated. He would like, I remember the day before he would like supplement. Like he would do.
So he planned ahead.
He would do everything right that you need to do that most high school kids weren't doing at that point.
Nice. It's good to be a mutant and take care of your shit.
Yeah. So like I remember observing that. I'm like, oh, okay, that's how high level people operate. And so like
that's what
not
you need.
needing to like, because he wasn't like the guy's like chugging water on the sideline. Like it's too late for them, like you said, right? But like he's like, I'm prepared for this.
That's what inspiration is about.
Yeah.
Seeing what the fucking leaders are doing. And then just emulating that, because it's not a fucking meme or tweet inspiration.
No,
it's following.
I'm seeing it happen in real time.
Yep. Because that's the thing. You need to practice the gospel at all times and only use your words when necessary. So practice what you preach all the time.
What you preach.
I like it. Did you guys have pickle juice on the sidelines?
No.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Dude,
I
my buddy,
love pickle juice.
Dude, I was gonna say my buddy Tom will fucking just sip on pickle
I will
juice
sip on pickle
for
juice.
funsies.
Me too. I like it.
And we had it as like if you were too baby for the pickle juice, you get make fun of and they toss you a Gatorade. But like the pickle juice was there for fucking sodium, boom, some potassium, but ton of sodium, boom.
Yeah, that's my. I like that kind of olives, pickles. That's one of my flavors.
Yep.
What's the name of that? I guess not salt. Well, I guess it is salty. But
Yeah, just briny.
Yes, astringent. Is that no?
No, we should look into like why we're both into that type of stuff.
I think a lot of it has to do with like gut bacteria. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact, like I said, I need more hydration than the average person.
So your body craves salty stuff
water,
so it tricks you into drinking more water.
Yeah.
That is fucking.
I would not be surprised.
No, that makes so much sense.
This makes a lot of sense.
So if I could run through some of the benefits of hydration so that you can see what dehydration will fuck you up with.
Yeah.
It's going to lubricate your joints, okay? It's going to form all your saliva and all your mucus. So your eyeballs, your nose, your mouth, any place that you need mucus, right? Helps deliver oxygen through the body. You were saying
H2O. Oxygen molecule.
There you go.
Come on, guys.
For every hydrogen is a couple of oxygens.
Yep.
You were saying the body is 60 to approximately 70% water, but the blood is at least 90% water.
Yeah.
So you're going to need some water. Skin, huge. That's where your wrinkles are coming from.
Skincare regimen.
Huge.
First part of it.
Brain fluid, spinal fluids, all your organs and tissues, regulating body temperature, digestion. Huge. A lot of people think they're lacking fiber, but sometimes they're just dehydrated, and their small intestine and their colon can't absorb and eliminate properly because it's dehydrated.
Like the term like flushing out toxins is a little controversial because like what does that mean? But in terms of just flushing out whatever's in
waste
your
products,
digestive
for sure.
system, definitely.
Because think about the ways you can flush waste. Sure, urination, defecation, perspiration, sweating, but also respiration and breathing. Maintaining blood pressure, okay, same thing. If you're dehydrated,
like you said, blood is 90% of water. If that blood becomes more viscous,
throws you off. Moving around minerals and vitamins and nutrients, keeping the kidneys healthy, obviously, and then sports and mental performance, physical and mental performance.
If I'm dehydrated, I will start to get headaches and migraines.
Oh yeah, I'm not focused. If I need water or need to pee. You know what I mean? If I'm holding a piss or if I need to drink, I'm mentally fucked up because of that, because of the balance of electrolytes. And then, like I said, all the cellular and organ and tissue functions and stuff like that. So,
yeah, and you mentioned like just one that's not really thought of very often, but you said mucus. Which everyone thinks is like mucus is gross, like I don't want it, but like your body needs that.
Yeah, if you had none.
When your body's like dry,
if anything was
extremely
dry,
prone to infection, and that part of that mucus you have in your throat, in your nose, in your eye, like that's all not
lady parts.
Yeah, all that is part
100%.
of keeping.
We don't want that dry.
The bacterial environment. Healthy.
I think that's part of a yeast infection is the bacteria and the lack of hydration.
Yeah,
not good. Moisturize yourself. Well, that's how you moisturize yourself from the inside.
Yeah.
With water.
Inside and outside.
And then outside. I love it. So then hydration for your goals, once again, this entire nutrition, we broke down what the 4 goals are. And then throughout the nutrition series, we want to continue that theme of showing you what to do, what for your goals. So would you say you have a mark of like how much water people in general should be drinking? Or once again, it depends?
I mean, always it depends.
Yeah.
But if like gun to my head, you need an answer. Like I will say 3/4 to a gallon.
I love it.
To a gallon.
Yeah. Somewhere around a gallon.
Yeah. And the reason I say it depends is, for one, like I said myself, I know that I need more hydration than that.
Body type / genetics, activity level for sure, climate. And genetics that we didn't even think about, and then climate / time of year, and then what type of diet you're on, meaning like what type of carbohydrates you're running, which we'll get to. So like for example, ketogenic diet, you're in the absence of carbohydrates, so you're going to need more water because you're peeing out more water because you're losing your glycogen, because what we said before is carbohydrates in Latin is just water energy, carbohydrate. So you're going to need more water and more electrolytes.
Carbs pull
because you don't
water.
have the carbs to soak up the water.
Yeah.
And then conversely, if you're fucking bulking and pumping high carbs, you're going to need more water to shuttle those carbs into the muscles.
Yeah.
But if your goal is fat loss, you're going to need a lot of water. First of all, because if you're dehydrated, even 1 to 2%, or what were the studies, 5%?
Well, there's a couple of different ones, 2 to 5%.
2 to 5% dehydrated, you're slowing down fat loss, you're slowing down muscle gain, you're slowing down mental and physical performance. So if you're trying to lose fat, water is your best friend because, once again, it's easy and something you can control.
Yeah.
More importantly, it's going to fill up your stomach and make you feel full while you're in a caloric deficit eating less food. So instead of, hunger and hunger cravings are kind of inevitable on a long enough term cut, on a long enough term calorie deficit for losing fat. So water is just going to help fill up your stomach a little bit, let alone keep you hydrated as far as, like I said, joints and all the other bodily functions. And then gaining muscle, we kind of already mentioned as far as utilizing the carbohydrates and staying hydrated to lift heavy, more volume.
Yeah.
Performance is what it is. Like we said, 2 to 5% dehydrated, you're screwed. At least 30% of your performance drops.
Like you can definitely feel the days you train hard, dehydrate or not.
Yep.
And going back to the fat loss and muscle building, what I think is really important too is that, to just keep in perspective always, is that either of those things, fat loss or muscle building, more depending on your genetics, obviously, right, is a big factor. But you're going away from the homeostatic environment, right? You're changing dramatically, and so like your body doesn't really want to do that. Like,
no,
you're trying to go against your body because we have our reasons. We know it's healthier for most people.
Body just wants to survive.
Yeah,
It doesn't want to look pretty.
It doesn't give a shit
Nope.
about what you look like. It wants homeostasis. So if you're going through a fat loss journey or muscle building journey, you're putting a lot of stress in your body, but a little
hormetic stress.
Yeah,
a good stressor.
Yeah, good stress on trying to change your body to something else. And that takes a lot in terms of calorie surplus, calorie deficit. So in that situation, the last thing you want is like one of your main sources of homeostasis that your body has to work with to be out of sync, to negatively affect it.
Huge.
Because your body's more likely to change in a homeostatic environment because it feels more comfortable with being able to make the changes and have the nutrients available to make the changes. Then when you're dehydrated, now I'm focusing on my body's not getting food, now I'm getting no water either. Like that's bad signals in my brain.
It's funny how the internal part of the body wants to fight change, and so does your ego in the external fight of the body.
Whoa.
You're just like, I'm just comfortable. I don't want to face my fears. I don't want to change.
It's all just a reflection network.
That's it. Inside,
Change
as
from
above,
inside.
so is below. And then the last goal would be just health. So we're already mentioning skin health is huge, organ health. If you're dehydrated, you're not optimally healthy.
And then just even, again, this is like just test that yourself. Like if you don't believe us, like if you're one of those people who's drinking maybe a glass of water a day and like, I'm not drinking enough, or you just know you're not drinking enough, spend like a week or even 2 days, just a day drinking more, and then just notice how you feel at the end of the day or the next day after.
Oh yeah, you're gonna feel good.
It's gonna feel a big difference. Sleep's gonna improve. A lot of things will improve.
Sleep will improve big time. Just a little tiny practical take-home tip. I've read, I think I told you about this, a book called Tiny Habits.
Yes.
Where one of the examples was the guy wanted to floss his teeth every night. That was his goal, right? But he already has the habit of brushing his teeth every night. So first night, he's like, this is my goal, I'm gonna floss. I flossed. Next night, he just fucking forgets.
Yeah.
And he brushes his teeth, but he forgets to floss because it's a new habit that, once again, his body has to fight for change to do. So then he goes, all right, how can I fucking trick myself or remind myself? So he takes the dental floss from the medicine cabinet and puts it on the toothbrush stand. So now, visually, when he sees the toothbrush, he knows that those activities go together, and he paired it in his mind. So I tell people that say that they are so busy with work that they forget to drink water, and I know water's good for me, but I know I don't drink enough water. You put it right by the mouse pad. So then, as you're working too much and emails and all this bullshit, you can subconsciously, without thinking about it, create a habit of just keeping your eye on the screen or doing what you're doing. Sip of water.
Take a sip.
Sip of water, which I do all throughout the day. I just, every couple of minutes, I just unconsciously, because I've already created that habit, sip water, therefore, never get dehydrated.
And one thing I've used to gotten a good habit of doing since I was like in high school is like first thing in the morning is I just get a lot of water in immediately, not just to flush everything out of my system, but also like if all else fails and the rest of the day is crap, I at least got 20 ounces of water in, which is something, you know?
I like it.
So, I mean, and
that's a nice yogi practice and Ayurveda practice is like
definitely.
chugging water first thing in the morning.
Yeah,
I think the first thing is chug water and the tongue scraper.
The tongue scrape, yeah.
That's huge. That's what I do.
Tongue scraping. Get that
I like
shit off
it.
your tongue, bro.
Yeah, it's fucking gross.
And then talking about electrolytes.
Huge. So first of all, can we just say salt is not bad for you. Salt will not make you fat. Salt will not make you fat. Salt is not only is it not bad for you, it is an essential mineral and electrolyte.
Super necessary.
Super fucking necessary. So I think salt got a bad rap when people are because people eat too much processed foods and they have a lot of sodium in it, and then you may have too much. Right. But if you're eating clean and eating healthy, you have to salt your food to then supplement, I guess you would say.
Yeah, most natural foods don't have a plethora of salt. Like most vegetables don't have tons of salt.
Yep.
Most potatoes don't have tons of salt.
So it's not only for flavor, but it's for every single body function.
So yeah, let's talk about salt and I guess potassium. We'll get into the two main electrolytes to focus on. There's quite a few. That's a factor. So sodium, like I said, is not bad. And why is it super necessary? So we talked about cell health. Right, and so there's water inside your cell, and there's also water in the space between the cells. So the water in the space between the cells is called your extracellular fluid, which basically means just water outside the cell. And then intracellular fluid is water inside the cell. So we talk about homeostasis a lot and that balance. So how does the body get that balance of the right amount of water in between, the right amount of water in the cell? And it uses electrolytes, which are charged minerals in this sense that shuttle water in and out. So one thing people forget too is that we're like electrical beings.
Oh, it's all energy.
If you remember chemistry class, and sodium has a positive charge. Most of your minerals have positive charges. Chloride has a negative charge.
Yep.
Sodium chloride, you get that. But in your body, the water also, water gets attracted in or out depending on the ratio of sodium or potassium. So if I have an excess amount of sodium, I'm actually pulling water out of my cells, which is why salt gets a bad rap, because you have an excessive amount of it or a depletion of potassium. Basically, if you're just imbalanced, your cells are going to be dehydrated. Conversely, which is really rare to happen, but you'll have too much potassium, not enough sodium, you're not going to get any water in between the cells to shuttle things through, and those cells will be kind of overfilled.
Then you're in real trouble.
With potassium, which is also bad. So again, it's not about sodium's bad, it's about the average American diet tends toward high sodium, which tends towards
and it's harder to get potassium, so it's hard to find a balance.
Exactly.
Especially if you're not drinking enough water on top of that.
Yeah, so at the perfect storm, no water, getting too much salt, and the processed food diet.
Love it. So electrolytes, we're talking calcium, chloride, magnesium, phosphorus, potassium, and sodium. But potassium and sodium are the big ones, like you said, not that they all don't work together. But if you're doing any type of lifting weights, any type of exercise, every single muscle contraction is just those ions, negative and positive.
Yeah, calcium
exchanging.
is one of the main factors in the initial contraction of a muscle. It's super necessary for that. People forget about calcium as an electrolyte because it's just for bone health, or it's just like just in milk. But it's like, no, it's milk. Calcium positive sign.
Yeah. I personally salt the shit out of all my food and supplement my workout water with electrolytes.
So you mentioned like you said, if you're eating vegetables, brown rice, and some sort of lean protein.
Yeah.
None of those things naturally. Maybe the lean protein has a little bit.
So little.
But everything else doesn't have salt in it.
Nope.
Like the brown rice, I'm not going to have a ton of salt. The vegetables, not going to have salt.
So we're talking taste, flavor, nutrient absorption, and electrolyte balance for hydration.
Yeah. So the reason a lot of these studies, like you said, it's the standard American diet, right? If I'm eating pizza, cheeseburgers, things are loaded with salt.
You have too much sodium,
and
not
that
enough
person has
potassium.
diabetes and blood pressure as a result of being obese, overweight, or insulin sensitivity. Now they make correlations in science where it's like, oh, this.
They're blaming the salt.
Yeah, like that's the salt's the problem. I think the fact that you're eating a cheeseburger already 6 times a week, 6 times a day is the problem there. That just happens to be a byproduct of doing that. But favorite sources of salt?
I personally, I used to do a couple different types of salt. Now I do the pink Himalayan sea salt because it doesn't have a lot of sodium, so I can put a lot on it.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the other trace minerals along with it. The thing about Himalayan sea salt is it doesn't have iodine.
Yep.
Regular table salt, white salt, they enhance it. They infuse
salt,
it with iodine.
The
So I supplement
shaker,
iodine with it. But I've tried a lot of fancy salts, but I like the Himalayan sea salt.
Yeah. And then, so we talked about potassium. As you mentioned, it's hard to find in food, or just hard to find in foods in general.
People say bananas, but I could name 10 foods with more potassium than bananas.
Have a decent amount relative to everything else, but like you said, there are stronger sources of potassium.
Yeah, I mean, citrus fruits for sure, obviously, but sweet potatoes, man.
Yeah, any kind
coconut
of
water.
Coconut water is huge.
Huge.
I'm not a big. Like people say it's like a. What makes it a great alternative to like Gatorade is because it has such a great sodium potassium content to it.
Yeah. Gatorade's back on that syrup shit that you were talking about before.
On that syrup. That's the syrup.
Yeah.
Cucumbers, and also, I was looking up some. Again, I'm doing more plant-based stuff, so I picked up some lima beans. Did you know New Jersey or Cape May is like the lima bean capital of?
I did not know that.
The country for a while.
Garden State, baby.
Yeah. But lima beans have a lot of potassium. So do a lot of beans and legumes and
nice.
lentils and stuff
That's
like
correct.
that.
I'm 2 days no meat myself.
How you feeling?
Fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm always feeling great, though.
Great.
Yeah. And that's the next thing. I try to think, like, when I know I'm eating more salty foods, I'll get some potassium. Like, say I buy some beef jerky for a snack, I'm going to go for the coconut water instead of the regular water.
Just in your mind knowing potassium.
It balances your shit out, so you're not feeling, like, extra thirsty afterwards. You know, you feel satisfied and balanced and beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, again, it's more difficult to get the potassium in, but if you're eating healthy, so eating vegetables,
I've seen people eat too healthy. Because if you cut out, like you said, all processed foods, and then you think salt is bad, now your electrolytes are all fucked up.
And so now you're going to be feeling weird or dehydrated, and
you're like, I'm eating so healthy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like salt is healthy. It's like if you were elderly, overweight, and on blood pressure medication, maybe you should talk to your doctor about your amount of salt.
Yeah.
If you're an athlete or lifting weights of any kind, average person, salt is fucking key, man.
Yeah.
Huge. Friggin' huge.
It's just, again, be mindful of, this goes back to awareness, reading labels of the processed foods you are eating, noting if they're loaded with sodium.
They are. They're loaded with bullshit.
They are.
Do you have any tips for people to drink more water, or, maybe the awareness of how much they're drinking and then just beat that by one glass, or any practical tips?
Yeah, I mean, I like doing, I just like, what works best for me is just brain tricking myself a little bit.
That's everything.
But one thing, too, that I've also found, it's kind of like meditating. When people say, meditating is great for you, but most people will try to do it when they're feeling bad. So like, I'm upset, so now I need to meditate. Well, at that point, if you haven't practiced when you're in a good state, it's not going to be very effective when you're in a negative state.
Great point.
So what I like to do for any kind of habit, and hydration is really important, is I practice hydrating when I'm in a good state, in a conscious state. So like, this is going for like getting out of bed. So I'll use getting out of bed as an example too, is like getting up out of bed on time. I just train myself to respond to my alarm to get up out of the bed. But when it comes in the morning, like, no, fuck that, hit the snooze, I go back to bed. How many times? You've all done that. We've all done that. So when I'm awake, it's like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll just go lie in my bed, set the timer for like 2 minutes, and then just practice getting up out of bed once I hear the timer. So when I'm in the morning and the timer hits.
In a midday wake state when you're not tired.
Yeah, so when I'm
practice
conscious
responding
of it,
to the alarm.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So then like I'm Pavlovian dogging myself essentially.
Huge. Because we've all had that negative reaction in the morning to the alarm, so that's why it's better to maybe have it come on gently and slowly, or have it be a happy song.
Yeah.
So you're not associated with
That's the worst. Why does anybody do that?
A lot of people do that.
Who still has
they
that
like
as their alarm?
jolting their cortisol first thing in the morning.
There's so many more options. I have a nice
endless
little
options.
piano like riff come in. I'm like, oh, this is nice.
The birds and shit.
Yeah. If you can, I mean, I'm off topic now for a second here, but like light too in terms of waking up.
Huge.
I'm hoping I'm getting some hue lights for Christmas.
So it'll come on a dimmer and slowly
you
increase
can
your brightness.
You can set it to like
artificial sunrise,
like rise.
Yes,
10-minute rise, where it like slowly comes on this like nice orangey yellow.
So you wake up pretty naturally. I love it.
I do it with water too. So it's like if you're doing like a hat, like you brush the teeth, or if you're doing, I like to chain it with other things that are already ingrained.
Yes.
So I'm piggybacking off a good habit already.
Yes. So
placing it near something that you use, or in that conscious waking state, I'm going to practice hydrating now with this habit.
I love it. Like I'm aware that I'm not thirsty, and I'm going to drink a half a glass of water.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're learning how to play the guitar, and all of a sudden you just go to play it without any practice, you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I'm going to put it back down. But you got to practice when I have to practice now. So treating it, building a habit as just practice. The more reps you do, I'm scared of the person who's practiced 1,000 kicks versus one kick
10,000 times. I love it. I personally don't set an alarm. The alarm sets an alarm for me because it's fucking fun.
I actually just do wake up at that time now. I mean,
fucking slap
although
the
I've
clock.
been waking up at 4:44, but waking up at 5:55 recently. That's when I normally wake up around that time, but
no coincidence. And I'm sure I forgot to look up the study, but your chance of injury goes up exponentially if you're dehydrated because of muscle and tendon and tissues.
Tendon, ligament, those are all cells. If they're all cells, they get dehydrated. And I've experienced that one before.
So protect yourself. And the beauty of it is,
protect yourself at all times.
It gives yourself personal responsibility because it's something you can control. There's nothing. I hear a lot of people when I tell them drink more water, they're like, I don't want to because I know I'm going to have to pee. But I'm like, maybe that's a good thing because it's getting you out of your seat, moving around a little bit.
Yeah.
So now it's cause and effect of less sitting, more movement, more hydration. These are all good things.
Yeah,
like I see nothing but
the big picture of what that is happening, right? Like I want people peeing is eliminating waste product. Do you want to keep that waste product inside your body or no?
And that's what I was saying about practicing what you preach. Like health and movement is 24/7. It's not just
it's a lifestyle.
Living an unhealthy lifestyle. It's a lifestyle, bro. Instead of living an unhealthy fucking lifestyle, and then 1 hour, 2 hours a week, I go to the gym so I feel like I'm healthy, or I pay my gym membership. Act as if you were a healthy person at all times. Like everything, like how we're sitting right now is how we're training our body. Like this is yoga right now. And if you're sitting in the car, that's yoga. You know, anything you're doing.
In the car because of my shoulder. I remember when I was in like middle school and like Need for Speed Underground came out, and it was like, oh, I'm supposed to be cool because I put my seatbelt
the lean back, and then the lower back just gets smoked.
Horrible. Every gangster's probably got horrible back pain.
Gangsters. And
now I'm like, I'm actively engaging because I got my shoulder issues, so I'm like, boom, boom.
Huge fucking sitting up. I got a fucking lumbar support and shit. Oh, yeah.
And also another one, too, if you're driving, the head craning forward thing.
Huge.
So I'm pressing that. That's actually a yogi lock, too.
Get a little 90 degrees there.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Boom. That's Pramanasa Yogananda. He's like, the chin 90 degrees to the floor.
Yeah.
Spine erect.
Yeah, so the 3 locks are, I'm going to mess them up. But Uddiyana Bandha is like the pelvic floor one.
Yep.
And there's like the solar plexus one.
Yep.
So you're just pretty much like contracting your pelvic floor, which is like holding your pee, not like squeezing it, but a little bit, pulling this in, and then
the epiglottis.
Yeah, tugging that back. And that's like the locks, pretty much keeping your energy in those chakra points.
And that's how I teach breathing and bracing for lifting heavy weights with the 3 locks, because it's literally the same thing with a different like concept of it.
No, that's perfect.
Like you breathe.
I didn't even think of that.
With your diaphragm, and you're scrunching the pelvic floor and the diaphragm, keeping a neutral spine, and like the Valsalva maneuver. So it's Valsalva, diaphragm, pelvic floor.
Wow.
Same.
Maybe, but different.
Same, only different. To me, yoga and lifting weights are the same fucking coin on the other side of the coin. You can't have a coin without the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
And you practice. You're going to be how you practice. So your posture, don't think you can fucking sit like shit, move like shit, eat like shit, be like shit for 23 hours and you go to the gym for an hour. And you're going to reverse all that and be magical. Yeah. Take personal responsibility. Think for yourself. Question everything. Love yourself. Drink some goddamn water. Can we do a
chug up?
Cheers?
Chug up?
It's bad luck to cheers with water, but I have electrolytes and BCAAs in here.
Shit.
So we're good. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
Or should we get the noise on there? Oh, same color.
This high quality H2O.
So
go see The Waterboy, that movie if you have not. Adam Sandler Gold.
What? Everyone's seen The Waterboy.
You'd be surprised.
These
new Generation Z kids out here. Tell me they've never seen The Waterboy.
Terrible. So the brand of your water bottle is Mana.
Yeah.
You know what that is?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's why I bought it. I think I got it.
The answer is life. Water is life. Drink your water. Enjoy yourself. Eat your vitamins. Say your prayers. And we'll see you in the next one.
Hulkamania's running wild.
Yeah, brother.
That's good.
Peace.